Bill O'Reilly is a name that once dominated primetime television, a sharp-tongued commentator, best-selling author, and one of the most polarizing figures in American media. At the height of his career, he was earning a jaw-dropping $25 million annually, commanding headlines and households alike. Now, in 2025, at age 75, O'Reilly leads a life that's both luxurious and carefully out of the spotlight. With a longtime partner, 2 grown children, a portfolio of impressive real estate, and a car collection that screams power and prestige, his world is a mix of old-school wealth and quiet retreat. But behind the polished image lies a more complicated reality, marked by public controversies, private battles, and decisions that still spark debate. William James O'Reilly Jr. began his story in Manhattan on September 10, 1949, but the skyline of New York was only the opening act. He grew up crossing state lines, first in Fort Lee, New Jersey, then settling into the suburban rhythm of Levittown on Long Island. Life in a post-war working-class neighborhood shaped much of his worldview, one grounded in the hum of blue-collar perseverance. At home, he was the older brother to his sister Janet, while outside he was navigating the discipline of Catholic education at Chaminade High School in Mineola, a rigorous all-boys institution where he graduated in 1967. From there, O'Reilly's intellectual path led him north to Marist College in Poughkeepsie, New York, where he found his footing as a student and athlete, playing semi-professional baseball and working on the college newspaper. His education took a transatlantic twist when he studied abroad at Queen Mary College, part of the University of London, a time that gave him a taste of the world beyond the U.S., and perhaps the early stirrings of the global perspective he'd later bring to journalism. Fresh out of college in 1971, O'Reilly didn't jump straight into the media spotlight. Instead, he stepped into the classroom, teaching English and history at Monsignor Pace High School in Miami. For 2 years, he stood in front of chalkboards instead of cameras, shaping young minds before deciding it was time to shift direction. By 1973, he was back in school himself, this time earning a master's degree in broadcast journalism from Boston University, laying the foundation for his transition into television. Years later, in a nod to his evolving role in public discourse and policy commentary, O'Reilly returned to academia once more. In 1996, he completed a Master of Public Administration degree at Harvard's John F. Kennedy School of Government, rounding out his education not just as a communicator, but as someone intent on understanding the machinery of leadership and governance. Bill O'Reilly didn't just stumble into the national spotlight. He climbed there, market by market, with a microphone in one hand and a determined glare in the other. His television news journey began in the hills of Scranton, Pennsylvania, at WNEP-TV, where he cut his teeth as both a reporter and an anchor. On some days, he even donned the role of weatherman, forecasting storms before heading out to chase real ones. From there, he launched into a cross-country odyssey that would take him through a series of local newsrooms: Dallas at WFAA-TV, Denver's KMGH-TV, Portland's K2, Hartford's WFSB, Boston's WNEV-TV, and finally back to his native New York at WCBS-TV. In those formative years, O'Reilly didn't just report the news, he made waves. He earned 2 local Emmy Awards, one in Denver for his gripping coverage of a skyjacking, and another in New York for a dogged investigation into corruption among city marshals. His growing reputation for fearless, sometimes confrontational reporting caught the attention of national networks, and in 1982, he stepped up to the big leagues as a correspondent for CBS News. The turning point in O'Reilly's network career came not in a studio, but at a funeral. In 1986, after delivering a heartfelt eulogy for his late friend, Joe Spencer, an ABC News correspondent who had tragically died in a helicopter crash, O'Reilly's passionate and articulate tribute caught the ear of ABC News president Roone Arledge. Moved by his presence and delivery, Arledge brought O'Reilly aboard. At ABC, he became a familiar face, presenting daytime news updates for World News Tonight and reporting stories for Good Morning America and Nightline. It was a chance to sharpen his skills in front of a national audience, and he took it. Then came Inside Edition, the nationally syndicated news magazine where O'Reilly landed in 1989. Originally hired as a reporter, he became anchor just 3 weeks into the job after David Frost exited the show. O'Reilly brought a harder edge to the glossy news magazine format, a style that stuck with viewers. He held the anchor chair until 1995, when Deborah Norville took over, but by then he had bigger ambitions. In October 1996, Fox News took a chance on a bold idea: give O'Reilly his own show. That show, The O'Reilly Report, quickly rebranded to The O'Reilly Factor, would become a defining force in American cable news. With his signature opening line, "Caution, you are about to enter the no-spin zone," O'Reilly carved out a new space in media, a blend of news, opinion, and sharp-edged confrontation. His nightly monologues and interviews attracted both praise and criticism, but they undeniably changed the landscape, ushering in an era where primetime news was less about anchors reading headlines and more about personalities driving the narrative. He was lauded for being direct and blasted for being polarizing. Some accused him of cherry-picking facts and using statistics selectively, but he held his audience in a firm grip. While he dominated TV, O'Reilly also kept a foot in radio. From 2002 to 2009, he hosted The Radio Factor, reaching millions across the country. After a brief hiatus, he returned in 2019 with The O'Reilly Update, a compact 15-minute daily broadcast that kept his commentary in the public ear, reflecting his knack for staying relevant even after decades in the game. In April 2017, Bill, O'Reilly's media empire, once a seemingly impenetrable fortress of opinion, ratings, and best-selling books, was shaken to its core. The New York Times dropped a bombshell report revealing that O'Reilly and Fox News had paid out roughly $50 million in settlements to multiple women who accused the anchor of sexual harassment. One settlement alone came with a staggering $9 million price tag. The story ignited a firestorm, and within weeks, O'Reilly, long the face of Fox's primetime lineup, was off the air. The scandal didn't end there. Just months after his departure, yet another allegation surfaced, this one accompanied by a $32 million settlement reportedly paid to a single woman. That revelation brought the total alleged payouts linked to O'Reilly to a jaw-dropping $82 million. In the wake of this new claim, his professional foundation crumbled further. The United Talent Agency, which had long represented him, cut ties. The storm was swift and unforgiving. Fox didn't leave him empty-handed, however. Reports indicated O'Reilly walked away with a $25 million severance, essentially a full year's salary. As the network braced to fill the massive void left by its marquee host, it turned to Tucker Carlson. Carlson took over the time slot and, to the surprise of many, didn't just hold O'Reilly's audience, he grew it. His viewership began to match and eventually surpass some of O'Reilly's best numbers. And he did it at a relative bargain, earning a fraction of O'Reilly's pay. But in a twist of fate, Carlson himself would be shown the door in 2023, proving once again how volatile the high-wire act of cable news can be. Even as the TV cameras stopped rolling for him, O'Reilly didn't go quietly. Long before the scandals, he had built a second identity, best-selling author. Since 1998, O'Reilly had published more than 15 books, most famously his Killing series, which became a recurring fixture atop the New York Times bestseller list. His 2006 work, Culture Warrior, moved 1 million copies in just 3 months, a feat few pundits could dream of. When his Fox career ended, O'Reilly pivoted almost immediately. In April 2017, the same month the Times report was published, he launched No Spin News, a podcast echoing the style and tone of his former show. The medium was different, but the voice was unmistakable. direct, defiant, and unfiltered. It marked the beginning of his next chapter, still broadcasting, still controversial, and still refusing to fade away. Bill O'Reilly has always been a man who thrived in the storm, loud, combative, and deeply convinced that he speaks for the average American. Yet for all his certainty behind the microphone, pinning down his political identity has never been straightforward. He's repeatedly claimed to be an independent thinker, uninterested in the ideological straitjackets of party labels. In his own words, "When I see corruption, I try to expose it. When I see exploitation, I try to fight it. That's my political position." A noble stance, though it got a little blurry when the Daily News discovered he'd been registered as a Republican in New York since 1994. Caught off guard, O'Reilly insisted it was an error and claimed to have corrected it. Whether accidental or not, it was hard to shake the perception that he leaned right. A 2009 Pew poll suggested as much. Two-thirds of his viewers identified as conservative. He pushed back on that narrative in interviews. "I'm not a political guy in the sense that I embrace an ideology," he told NPR in 2003. "There are things this country was founded upon that I don't want changed." But for many, especially his critics, it wasn't ideology that defined O'Reilly. It was his ability to command a culture war. He saw himself as a defender of traditional American values, the guy who would step up when he felt political correctness or secularism was going too far. But that sharp cultural edge also brought him controversy. In 2007, during a discussion about race with fellow Fox commentator Juan Williams, O'Reilly recounted a dinner he had with Al Sharpton at Sylvia's, a famous Harlem restaurant. His comment that he was surprised it was exactly the same as any other New York City restaurant, even though it was black-owned and mostly black-patronized, triggered a wave of criticism. Nobody was screaming, "MFR, I want more iced tea," he said, apparently attempting to challenge negative stereotypes, but instead sparking accusations of reinforcing them. CNN's Roland S. Martin called the remark insulting. Media Matters slammed him for racism. O'Reilly insisted his intent was the opposite, saying he was trying to highlight shared American experience, not division. Juan Williams, interestingly, stood by him, calling the outrage rank dishonesty and blaming media distortion. The Sylvia's comments weren't the only time O'Reilly waded into racial waters and got burned. In 2016, responding to Michelle Obama's statement about living in a house built by slaves, he caused a stir by noting that the slaves were well-fed and had decent lodgings. That defense, intended to soften historical critique, only fueled more criticism, and he doubled down by citing George Washington's provisioning practices. It was classic O'Reilly, defiant, fact-wielding, and uninterested in the optics. O'Reilly often framed his straight-talking persona as rooted in his blue-collar upbringing. He frequently referenced his modest childhood in Levittown, New York, a planned post-war community emblematic of the American middle class. But even that piece of personal mythology wasn't immune to controversy. His mother once told the Washington Post they had actually lived in Westbury, a nearby but different neighborhood. This discrepancy prompted liberal commentator Al Franken to accuse O'Reilly of puffing up a working-class image. O'Reilly fired back, saying his mother was misquoted and even posted the mortgage for his Levittown home online as proof. "You don't come from any lower than I came from," he declared, noting his father never made more than $35,000 a year, at least until the end of his life. Even as he was carving out a niche in news, O'Reilly was also becoming a fixture in pop culture. Comedian Stephen Colbert built his entire Colbert Report character as a send-up of O'Reilly's on-air persona. Colbert affectionately called him Papa Bear, and the two men shared a few good-natured jabs during mutual guest appearances on each other's shows in 2007. For all the ideological theater, it was a rare glimpse of mutual respect across the satirical aisle. O'Reilly's impact on broadcasting was recognized formally, too. In 2008, he received the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Governor's Award, a significant nod to his influence, even amid the controversies. On October 13, 2004, Bill O'Reilly, then one of Fox News' biggest stars, sued his former producer Andrea Macris, accusing her of trying to extort $60 million. That same day, Macris fired back with her own $60 million sexual harassment lawsuit, alleging O'Reilly had made lewd phone calls. 2 weeks later, both suits were quietly dropped. Though the terms were kept confidential, the New York Times later reported that O'Reilly paid Macris around $9 million with both parties, publicly stating there was no wrongdoing whatsoever. That was only the first public crack in O'Reilly's image. In 2016, after Fox News chief Roger Ailes was ousted over sexual harassment allegations, O'Reilly defended him as the best boss I ever had. But shortly after Ailes' departure, Fox settled another claim, this time involving O'Reilly and former anchor Juliette Huddy, who accused him of inappropriate behavior. The settlement was worth $1.6 million. The dominoes continued to fall. Former Fox host Andrea Tantaros sued the network, alleging O'Reilly had made suggestive remarks, though the case was later dismissed. The New York Times then uncovered that Fox and O'Reilly had secretly settled 5 similar claims going back to 2002, totaling around $13 million in payouts. Then came the biggest hit. In 2017, it was revealed O'Reilly paid $32 million to former Fox legal analyst Liz Wheel, who accused him of initiating a non-consensual sexual relationship. That revelation cost O'Reilly his agents at United Talent and WME, and ultimately his career at Fox. By the time the dust settled, the total known payouts tied to O'Reilly had soared to about $82 million. For a man who built a brand on morality and straight talk, the silence of those settlements said more than any monologue ever could. Bill O'Reilly's luxurious lifestyle is perfectly embodied in his stunning mansion, nestled in the affluent enclave of Manhasset, Long Island, New York. This $3.4 million estate is more than just a home. It's a bold statement of success, combining timeless elegance with every modern convenience you could imagine. Situated in a prestigious neighborhood, the mansion effortlessly blends comfort with style, creating an ideal sanctuary for both relaxation and entertaining. Step inside, and you're greeted by an expansive entertaining area designed to accommodate gatherings of any size. At the heart of this space lies the chef's kitchen, a masterpiece of both form and function. With a massive island, a sleek wet bar, and top-tier stainless steel appliances, this kitchen is built for culinary creativity and socializing alike. An adjacent off-kitchen pantry leads conveniently to the 2-car garage, making everyday living seamless. The mansion's lower level is a playground for leisure and wellness. A game room invites fun and friendly competition, while an exercise area keeps fitness goals on track. Movie nights take on a whole new vibe in the cozy media room, designed for comfort and cinematic immersion. For wine lovers, the climate-controlled wine cellar is a treasure trove, preserving fine vintages in perfect conditions. Outside, the home sits on a sprawling 0.6-acre double lot, transforming the outdoor space into a private park-like oasis. A large cabana, complete with a full bath, opens onto a dazzling pool and hot tub, enhanced by a built-in water slide, making this backyard a true retreat for relaxation and playful summer days. The expansive brick patio wraps around the pool, offering ample room for barbecues, parties, or quiet evenings under the stars with loved ones. Before acquiring this Manhasset gem, O'Reilly owned a beautiful home in Hewitt, which he sold for the same $3.4 million. This property was a serene escape, set on nearly 3/4 of an acre and framed by mature shrubbery that ensured privacy and tranquility. One of its standout features was a luminous glass sanctuary, a bright, airy space that brought the peaceful backyard views indoors, perfect for quiet reflection or intimate gatherings that felt seamlessly connected to nature. Inside that Hewitt, residents, 5 spacious bedrooms each, boast their own ensuite bathrooms, offering comfort and privacy to family and guests alike. 3 additional guest bathrooms enhance convenience. The open floor plan, revamped in 2005, flows effortlessly, ideal for entertaining large crowds or savoring quiet nights at home. The kitchen is a chef's dream, featuring vaulted ceilings and an impressive array of high-end appliances like Wolf and Sub-Zero units. With 3 sinks, 2 dishwashers, a wine refrigerator, and warming drawers, it's equipped to handle everything from gourmet feasts to casual family dinners. Comfort is paramount throughout the home, with 9 zones of central air conditioning and radiant heating ensuring perfect temperature control year-round. 2 wood-burning fireplaces add cozy ambiance during chilly seasons. Fitness enthusiasts enjoy an indoor endless pool, offering a private place to swim and stay active without stepping outside. Additional highlights include a 2-car garage, an integrated sound system throughout the home, and a finished basement with a full bathroom. A stunning curved staircase connects all 3 floors, adding a grand architectural flourish that elevates the entire space. Together, these properties showcase O'Reilly's taste for luxury living that balances elegance, entertainment, and everyday comfort. An impressive testament to his success and lifestyle. Bill O'Reilly's car collection is a fascinating blend of practicality, raw power, and refined luxury, reflecting a personality that appreciates both everyday reliability and high-end extravagance. Take the Honda Civic, for example. It's not what most imagine when picturing a celebrity's garage, but it holds a quiet honor in O'Reilly's fleet. Known for its fuel efficiency, reliability, and smart design, the 2023 Civic is a reminder that even in a world of supercars, sometimes the best wheels are the ones you can depend on day after day. Powered by a 2.0-liter 4-cylinder engine delivering 158 horsepower, it offers a smooth, safe ride with a modern look, all without the fuss of excessive performance. Priced around $25,000, it's the humble hero of his collection, perfect for those moments when practicality matters most. Now, shift gears to the Ferrari F12 Berlinetta, a total showstopper that commands attention. This Italian masterpiece roars with a mighty 6.3-liter V12 engine producing a staggering 730 horsepower. Its sleek aerodynamic body isn't just for show. It slices through the air at speeds topping 211 miles per hour. Going from 0 to 60 in just over 3 seconds, the F12 is pure adrenaline on wheels. With a starting price north of $320,000, this Ferrari doesn't just promise luxury. It delivers a visceral thrill and represents the pinnacle of performance and style, embodying the kind of boldness that only a true sports car fanatic could appreciate. Then there's the Rolls-Royce Phantom, a car that redefines what automotive luxury means. This isn't merely a vehicle, it's a moving sanctuary. The 2023 Phantom is powered by a smooth 6.75-liter V12 engine that churns out 563 horsepower, but its true magic lies in the experience inside the cabin. Sumptuous hand-stitched leather, polished wood veneers, and state-of-the-art technology blend to create an atmosphere of unparalleled comfort and prestige. Gliding along roads almost silently, the Phantom makes a statement of timeless elegance and supreme craftsmanship. With a price tag starting at around $460,000, it's the ultimate symbol of wealth and sophistication, a car that says, "You've arrived." In the end, Bill O'Reilly's collection is not just about showing off horsepower or price tags. Bill O'Reilly, known for his strong Catholic faith, has had a personal life marked by both joy and challenges. He met Maureen E. McPhilmy, a public relations executive, in 1992, and the couple tied the knot a few years later on November 2, 1996, in a ceremony held at St. Bridget Parish in Westbury, New York. Together, they built a family, welcoming a daughter, Madeline, in 1998, followed by a son, Spencer, in 2003. However, their marriage eventually unraveled, leading to their separation in April 2010 and finalizing their divorce by September 2011. The years following their split were far from easy, as legal battles ensued. In May 2015, court transcripts from a custody trial painted a difficult picture, revealing allegations of domestic violence that shook public perceptions. O'Reilly, through his attorney, firmly denied these claims, labeling them as 100% false while choosing to remain silent out of respect for court-imposed confidentiality meant to protect their children. Despite his efforts, by February 2016, O'Reilly's attempt to gain sole custody of Madeline and Spencer was unsuccessful, marking a poignant chapter in his complex personal story. Through it all, the interplay of faith, family, and public scrutiny has shaped a narrative both compelling and deeply human.